Sure.
Okay, and we are live on Bald and Balding. We are not doing a book and a beverage this time. We're just chatting about how life has been treating us.
Oh my
And
God. We've already struck that far down the barrel, huh?
PG rated.
Good
So
gracious.
maybe not accurate. And we have 2 viewers.
Do we?
We do.
You and me?
Well, I did not log in, so that means there must be 2 people who care what we say, which is frankly 2 more than I thought.
That's amazing. Who are they? Find out who they are quick.
Well, they could always introduce themselves in the live stream if they so choose.
I don't know if you can tell, but I'm actually doing something on another screen right now, and I'm stalling for time. So I'm very sorry. Just carry on, man. You're doing great.
Okay, well, first of all, I'm going to remember everyone, please like and subscribe. Oh, we're down to 0 followers. They gave up. We asked them to say something in the chat, and they both left. So there you go. So like and subscribe if anyone should watch this video in the future.
That pretty much sums up the whole experience right there, doesn't it?
And I do want to give a shout out. Hey, John Stevenson is here. Yay.
All right.
I do want to give a shout out to our future schedule because I've actually have a future schedule.
All right, let's do that now.
So January 5th, which is next Friday, not Thursday, but Friday.
Next Friday? We're doing that Friday?
We are going to have Joe JCM Byrne. He's writing the Hybrid Helix. He's written 4 books. If you like sci fantasy, his book is phenomenal. I always thought We Are Legion, We Are Bob was about the best sci fantasy out there, but he blows that away. Love his first book. Second book he doesn't have on audio, so it's a little bit of a struggle for me to actually, read. Okay. Because why would I read? I'm an author. But anyway, after that, January 11th, we have John A. Douglas, which if you were here for the Beard of Darkness thing, he was hysterical in the comments. So I'm looking forward to him. And his main character is a half-orc, not even human. So that I'm looking forward to that. That's interesting. After that, we have Matt Slay, who is one of your contacts and your artist for cover art.
He does my cover art. I won't say he's my artist. He is his own man, and he's been at it for a long time. He's done some covers for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comic series back in the day, and he has just put out his own very first book, graphic novel. This last year, so I'm sure we'll talk about that. All right, so that's as far as we have. We have January filled up.
Okay, yes, and then the last week in January, I need to run it by you, but I have not one but 2 foolish people who want to be authors, and they've turned to me for advice.
Oh my God!
I know. They don't know much about writing. They're very new. Okay. So I want to try to put something together at the end, and I'd mentioned it to Catherine on our last thing, since she's an editor for a living, and I want to just have me, who's done everything wrong at least once in self-pub, and then you, since you're my line editor, and Catherine, since she does all kinds of editing, and just basically kind of have a guided topic, like what are your questions? We have 2 people who know what they're doing and 1 person who's done it wrong, and we can answer your questions, sort of thing. But I don't know
that'd be fun.
I don't know. Do we need structure, or do we just let it run? Just let it go?
This is our 13th live episode of this show. Have we ever had anything that resembles structure yet?
No. Oh, and by the way, I finished my Corona, so we're on to the next 12-pack.
Yellow, right on. Look at you.
So yeah, so sometime in March, I'll have to get another 12-pack.
I'm waiting for the little stubby Genesee or something.
No. If I could bring myself to drive all the way to Kroger, it's a 25-minute drive, I could get Killian's Irish Red, which is my absolute favorite. But since I drink 1 a week,
Maybe it's worth that 25-mile trip, you lazy bastard.
It's actually between where I work and home, so I could stop there on the way home. But I'm always like, no, I just want to leave and get away from this place, so I don't actually want to stop.
So on that note, we've done, like I say, did I say 13?
Yep.
12, yep. 13 live episodes. And previous to that, we did 21 recorded episodes.
Yep.
So I guess this is episode Math in Public 34. And our first one was 6 months ago. So, yay us, I guess, our 6-month anniversary. Huzzah.
Huh. Hello, Drew.
Hey, Drew. It's John and Drew. John takes a sip with you. John's going to make this a drinking game soon.
Hey, whatever we need to get more subscribers.
So let's start there. What is the dumbest drinking game you've ever played?
Dumbest drinking? Oh, my God. God, back in the day, I don't even know. I know that the one thing is towards the end of the night, you didn't want to play because we always called them hamsters when people had an inch of beer left in their thing and had sat there for 3 hours.
Yeah, right.
And they poured all those into one big cup and the loser had to drink that. And it was, and it's like, yes, you're like, stop playing drinking games for the end because you don't want to be the loser and have to do that. Ugh. No.
John says get pulled over by the cops. Wrong game, John.
Yeah.
You're playing it wrong. But explain to you a game we played. This is back in the day.
Okay.
High school.
Not in the service?
The drinking age in Vermont at the time was 18. We weren't 18, but whatever. Ryan Skeffington. Hey, Ryan, how are you? And it's called Chandeliers. That's what we called it.
Oh, yeah.
And basically, if you have 6 people playing, you take 6 big cups and you put them in a circle touching each other, and you put 1 cup in the middle, right?
Mm-hmm.
The one in the middle gets filled. So if it's those red Solo cups, you fill one of those right up with beer. And the other ones, you put about that much in. And it's a quarters game. You bang your quarter on the table, and if it goes in one of the outside cups, whoever owns that cup drinks it. And if it goes in the middle one, everybody has to grab their drink and shoot it down, and the last person down has to drink the one in the middle. You go through a tremendous amount of beer in a very big hurry. Now, I'm not advocating this game at all because it's stupid. This is a public service announcement to not play this game because it's just dumb. And if you do it when you're young and inexperienced and you haven't built up a credible tolerance, it will end in bad things. So
yes,
here's your public service announcement from Mike and Roe. Take it as you will. And this is what happened when you don't plan these shows and you just start talking off the cuff. You never know what's going to come out of your mouth.
So I do have some questions. Okay. And we're not going to get to cornhole strategy, I hope. That's not,
yeah.
So did you publish any books this year?
In January.
Well, I published in December of 2022, so I went over for 2023.
Really? You didn't get anything done in 20? It's because you kept writing all these weird things, man.
Well, yeah, I came up with a lot of excuses. I was very creative.
Sorry, I had to scooch around. In January, I put out book 2 of this series.
Yep.
And my big change is it was in January. That was book 2 of an 11-book series. And January of 2024, that is book 2 of a 5-book series. So things change.
More manageable.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I put one out in December of last year, and now I'm going to put out, this book. There we go. Desperate Dispatches in January. So I'm going to have 13 months in between, which is ridiculous, but.
It's not though, man. You're a chemist. You have a real job, right? And so the beautiful thing about it, and if you look at the traditional publishing world, a book every 13 months would be unheard of.
Yeah.
We kind of spoiled ourselves, I think, in the indie world in thinking that you're going to churn a book every 6 months. And
it's about 2024.
That's just it's really difficult to do for any consistent period of time if you're doing this as a part-time thing after a 9 to 5 and all that. Here, what's John saying? I did small pubs, 3 90-minute reads in Kindle and a paperback. Kindle's 99 cents, paperbacks are 5. Okay, so you did, wow, 4. Okay. So,
Nice.
yeah, but I mean, you can, but how long can you do it? I mean, my first 4 years, I was doing 2 a year, just, kind of like a clock every January and June or something. But yeah, then you hit that thing. It's kind of like, oh, I think it's like running a marathon, right? At mile 16 or 18 or whatever it is, you kind of go, ugh, what am I doing? So
Yeah.
there's
So,
no shame in 13 months for a book, I don't think.
there we go.
Drew, I recommend whatever you want. No, I would think it would be interesting if you've never read any of my books to start with the Rangers deck, because I'm interested to see if it makes sense to you. It should, but it's a follow-on series to my first series of 6. It's some of the same characters in the same world. Hopefully, it's not necessary to read the first 6. And as it's, my 7th and 8th book so far, I'd like to think they are better books objectively than the first ones. So, no, you don't need to.
So
and the Sprite is almost done, he says, as he's been saying for the last 5 months.
Something kind of sounds like me. I looked back and in my notes, I was going to publish my book in July or August of this year. That is now going to be January. So links are in the description.
Yeah. Also, for anybody who's interested, if you go to my website, rosairebushy.com, I have a link. And if you join my mailing list, I have 2 novellas you can download. One is called The Cleric of Tomb, which takes place before anything I've written in this world. And the second one is called The Mines of Tulache, which takes place after the first series of books, but before the start of the Rangers deck series. So those are both free downloads for joining my mailing list.
And I will tell you, Roe's first book is There's a World with No Magic, because, as Roe says, everything has an origin. And so in his first book, magic is introduced to the world for the first time ever. So I'd not seen another series where that was the idea. So it's very creative.
You know what's weird, man? Hold on, I want to get up again. This is strange.
Man, one of us is getting exercise.
I swear there's a reason for this.
Sure.
No. So I found this lying around. This is from, God, it's got to be 15, 20 years ago. And it was my first kind of attempt at writing something. And it was the same premise, right? Because that's been in my head the whole time. Who was first, right? Because you see these stories like Tolkien or whatever, and magic has always been there, and it's been a part of this world, and blah, blah, blah. And I always wondered who was first. Somebody had to have been the first person to use magic. What was that like? So that's what this story is. And it's going back and looking at this, I can get about a page into it and go, oh, you sad man. But I took the idea and...
See, you're going to make me get up now.
Yeah, no problem. And started using it when I did a master's in English creative writing, and used the premise and just started it over again. And it's much better. John Stevenson, I'm 46, just started writing prose. Sounds like, yeah. My first book, John, got published like 2 weeks before I turned 50. So, yeah.
So I started in 2017, which means I was 46. And this close. Oh my God, this close. This is my first novel. Notice.
You have a binder. Look at you.
Yeah. I wrote this, and it was 34,000 words. One draft. I didn't even bother to spell check it. And I just like, hey, I've written a book. Would you like to read it? And I gave it out to my friends at work, and they all lied through their teeth and said, it's really good. You should publish it.
Aren't friends great?
But fortunately, I did not. That's actually what I'm going to work on once this Eternal book project gets finished and I've published the book in January. Then I'm going to go back to the Haley Traveler, which is now in only 1/10, not multiple. and all sorts of other writing mistakes. And that hopefully I will have out. I keep saying April, May in my head, but then I think logically and laugh at the ridiculousness of that statement. But
Yeah.
I want to be
Especially if it's a new genre, right?
well, I mean, I like the plot. The writing was kind of abysmal because it was when I just decided I'm going to be an author after, never having wanted to do this and never even taking English 101 or 102.
Draw.
Yeah, exactly. So hopefully I have it out. I want it for the sci-fi version of Spiffbo, which you have to have it out by August.
Oh,
so
really?
I have to have it published by August so I can enter it in that contest so I can lose again. Because, I've taken the losing book contest as being a hobby of mine.
Dude, you made. I'm not going to be your agony on this. I'm not going to be your psychologist, but you made it into it, which was good. And you got a lot of good press off that. 16,500 primarily short story. Impatient push. Yeah, I hear you with the impatient pushing the publishing button.
I will just say, impatient pushing the button. My first book that I published, Haley Traveler, was published on July 4th, 2021, because I was working. I was like, okay, I'm happy with this. I'm finished. Publish. And then I called my brother and said, can you see it on Amazon? And I doubled the number of people in the world that knew that it was published in that first minute. So yeah, there are a lot of ways to not do things, and I've tried most of them. So
yeah, that first week on Amazon is kind of fun, continually hitting refresh. We're up to 180,000. Yay!
But I've told 12 people. Why have they all dropped everything and bought it?
Yeah. Drew, to answer your question, so I've been writing since I was 18. I joined the Air Force out of high school as it's technically called a public affairs specialist, but it's a journalism school that we go to. So we did like weekly newspapers at the bases we were at. So I've been writing feature stories, sports news, all that kind of nonsense since I was 18. And I just wanted to try writing something a little longer, that you could just make up entirely. And after I got out of the service, I had some GI Bill money left over and said, I'm going to get a master's in English for fun, and did that. And the first book of the series is the result of that degree. So
I have not one but two origin stories, and one is kind of funny and one is kind of sad. So
give us the sad.
You want to hear the sad?
Yes.
It's the shorter of the two.
Like sad or sad.
No. So my mom died in 2015.
Oh, it's sad like that.
Okay. Yeah. And my dad had died 2005, and I've never married. No kids. Really haven't dated in, I think, about over 15 years, which, actually I'm happy about because I really want to become a hermit. But anyway, when my mom died, I was like, wow, there's no one else alive in this world who really cares if I live or die. Now, I mean,
Dude, that's worse than sad. That's
so I mean,
man.
So I just kind of like for 2 years, I just went along in the motions. I worked, I came home, I had nothing to do, and then I went to a author signing and found out the woman was a mother of 5, stay-at-home mom, and she'd written 4 books. And I was like, well, if she has 5 kids and she can write a book, then I can do that. So I sat down and I started writing, and this travesty that I got back all but one of these from the friends I gave them to, and the last one says he must have thrown it away. He doesn't have it, but I think he's just hoping I hit it big so he can embarrass the hell out of me.
That's right, yeah. Send it to
I've disposed of all of them except for this one to remind me to stop doing stupid things. Oh, and
have you?
Well, no, but
okay.
So anyway, I started writing, and then that's why, because I just said I can do that, and I was like, I have time on my hands, so yeah, that's
challenge accepted.
Yeah,
he has a dog, John.
At the time I had 3. Now I'm down to just 1. I hate cats.
I have 5 cats.
Ugh.
But I also have, a spouse. So they're her cats, really. They could care what I do. The cats look at me, and you can almost read their thoughts, and they're saying, I would kill you if I could.
Ugh. So
Go to sleep, little man. Go to sleep.
So I, to make myself feel better, because it's near the end, and I love my spreadsheets. So
You
I
are
have
kind of a nerd like that.
a good spreadsheet. Oh my god! I talked to 2 accountants now who write fantasy, and who knew there were such things. I know 2, and they're
Uh-huh.
like, I really only get to use my creativity at work when I make a new spreadsheet. And I was like, okay, but here's
And
what
you
I
wonder
did.
why you're single. Gee, I love a good spreadsheet, said no one ever.
Oh my god, love them. My brother laughs all the time. Are you going to make a spreadsheet about that? But so this past year, I did not get a book published. However, I've done 15 Comic Cons, 4 live interviews where I was the main topic, which is scary but true. 4 written interviews, 2 live readings. Who on earth wants to hear me read my own book? But twice. 6 Comic Con panels I've been on. Started this YouTube channel, which I hate people, and now have a YouTube channel. Still don't understand that. 4 different book contests, which I've lost all of them in the first round. Woohoo! And the one thing I swore that I would never ever do, I joined Twitter, and I have over 1,300 followers, and that boggles the mind that there's that many people who care what I say.
So you're the Jets, basically. You are the writing version of the New York Jets. We lost somebody, though. You should be happy there.
But hey, look at this.
Yeah, I know.
And they have a mini zoo. Guinea pig, nice.
That's too much, man.
I do have a fish tank, but
That's too much. So, what are we doing in 24, Mike?
I am going to be. Shoot, I have a few confirmed Comic Cons. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 confirmed, and that takes me through April, May, June. I'll have a couple more. This past year, I did 15. I'm going to try to do 10 to maybe 12 max in 2024. And this year, I traveled to Indianapolis, which was an 11-hour drive. Chattanooga was 9. Cincinnati was 8. And I'm probably going to. I'm axing. I also went to Jacksonville, Florida, which was an 11-hour drive. So I'm cutting back on those. I'm only going to Cincinnati, and that's only because I can stay at my brother's for free.
And to see your brother, of course, right?
No.
Just to mooch off him. Nice.
My sister-in-law, maybe, but
Okay.
not my brother. Couldn't care. So yeah.
Well, tell me this. I found this year, going around to shows, that the show attendance was down a little bit from 2022. And we have day jobs, Drew.
Yeah. Okay.
And the spending was down a lot.
Yes.
I think the interest rates going up and people finding they were paying, really stupid rates on credit cards and everything really kind of killed. And this isn't just from me or you. I mean, talking to vendors at all of these shows.
Yep. Me too.
I found the same thing. Attendance was down a bit and buying was down a lot.
Yep.
So for the year, using one of your spreadsheets that you made that I borrowed. So I don't entirely hate spreadsheets. I'm just never going to sit here and say they excite me, because they don't. For the year, I don't think I made like $100 off going to shows, when you figure in a lot of that loss is because of 2 shows that you had hotel fees, which will really kill. Books are, if you have to spend money, if for any of you guys, Drew or John, who are here right now, you're looking at doing this, doing comic book shows that you have to go and spend hotel money on. It's very difficult to pull a profit on those, because the number of books you have to sell is pretty significant, because you're only making so much per book. You have to sell a lot of them. after to make tape. Some of the bigger shows are like $350 for a table, right?
Yeah.
Once you start adding all that up, you've got to sell a lot of books, and there are people who do it, right?
Right.
There was that one lady at that one show who had like her and two people with her, and she was selling books left and right, and grabbing people from other tables and everything, which was totally uncalled for, and but
Yep. So I do it a little differently. So I can tell you $621 on the year according to my spreadsheet, but asterisk there, I don't include hotels because that comes out of my mythical vacation budget.
Yeah.
I include it when I do my taxes so I can take the loss.
As one does, yeah.
But on my feel good, I need to make a profit. And this is actually the first year I made a profit when I'm skewing the numbers drastically in my favor to begin with. I actually made a profit this year of $600.
But you don't have to do that, because all you have to do is explain it to your dog when you get home, right? You've got nobody saying, "Did you make money this time?" Okay, yeah. So Drew is asking, is it going to shows beneficial for selling books, advertising your work, or making connections? All of the above, Drew.
Yes.
It's absolutely. If you go to these shows with only the idea of I need to make money, just don't go, right? You actually get a lot out of meeting the people. The guy who does my covers, Matt Slay, who is going to be on in a couple of weeks. I met him at this tiny little show in a like a half-empty mall in Roanoke or something, and we just happened to be next to each other, and I was talking to him, and he agreed to do 11 book covers for me. So super useful. I met Mike at a show, and another one we started talking, and here we are, 40 shows deep onto a YouTube channel with two people who have actually, with you guys. You live in Radford, John?
Wow, I'm in Hopewell, but
dude, I'm in
your neck of the woods.
You're like right down the road, John. I love this show. John, have you been to? Oh my God, I forgot the name.
Big Lick?
No, something far more important. H. Bard, the little distiller down there in Radford. Let me know. Anyway, we'll go meet John sometime.
Wow, from Wakefield. Who knew?
I have to look that up. I still don't know my Virginia.
That's south and a little east of Richmond.
I don't know my Virginia geography.
What? It's almost like you're not a native Virginian or something.
It is like that, but the other part is I've lived here for like 11 years now. I should know some things, but
oh no. See, if that's true, then I've lived here for 21 and I should know more, and I don't. So
okay, well, that doesn't make me feel any better.
So I do have a little show and tell for next year. I'm not going to do as many Comic-Cons, but selling hardbacks is where you make the more money.
Mm-hmm.
So I have this for next year. My book comes wrapped in a map with a wax seal, and on this one, no, that's upside down. It even has a owl, because if you've read my book, you know that Grommy turns into an owl about every third page. And so then the next book, different wax seal, different map, and so on. So this is going to be my big strategy to get people to buy the expensive hardbacks instead of the paperbacks. So I'm anxious to see how that works out.
Yeah, let us know how that works. And that's the thing, I think, with this is you have to try different things and be open to doing. I mean, there's people who obviously kind of come into this and it's like, I'm going to do this my way, and my way is going to be the way it will work. And yeah, that's just setting yourself up for failure. You've got to listen to and kind of, if you don't reach out, there's so many podcasts and things that you can, and ways you can find out how people have done this successfully, and let them make some of the mistakes for you. You're going to make plenty of your own. There's no way around that, but
So
Drew left us. He had to go.
Oh well. So yeah, I we'll see. I sold 757 books this year.
That's pretty good, actually.
Yeah, so that's my
Doing
best.
shows and not doing any advertising and everything. That's all right.
Yeah, I sold a lot, almost as many paperbacks as I sold ebooks. So I think going in 2024, I really have to find a way. And Amazon ads is not the answer. Facebook ads is not the answer. But I have to find some way to get people to find me on Amazon and buy the ebooks. That is, and actually, it would help since I have audiobooks. They'd buy the audiobooks too. But I need to send traffic there, and I don't know how yet. That's my number one goal, non-writing goal.
Yeah.
For 2020.
I think it's going to be worth looking at as well. And my video looks like it keeps freezing, which is super weird. There are ways now where you can sell from your own website, right?
Yep.
You don't have to even be on Amazon anymore, but you can just have the books printed through a service like
Ingram Spark.
Ingram Spark, thank you. And then just sell it yourself. And you can even sell ebooks yourself. That many books, if you just sold that many books, John, you probably could, but when you add in the cost of going to 10 shows and the table fee and the taxes that you still have to pay and the production costs, because you got to pay for your editor, you got to pay for your cover art, you got to get it put to, have the cover art put together and all that. And you're not really making a ton of money per book, especially when if there were 750 paperbacks, you'd probably be still making less than $7,000.
Oh yeah,
right. And if you're going to 14 shows, there's a fair amount of money invested in that too.
So John, the first thing, I will save you some money. Do not advertise on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it. I have not done it, but I've read 5 or 6 different places. That is just, you might as well just burn your money, because if you go on Twitter and say, read my book, you're just shouting into the void. And since I joined Twitter, I found pretty much the rule is that you can't really tout your own work, because then it's just a commercial and people will ignore you. But if I get on Twitter and say, oh my God, this book by Roe Bushy changed my life, then that will help. Well, I have a confession, Roe. I started reading your book.
Yeah, you haven't read it, have you?
Well, I was reading it, and then Shadow decided to read it. And so the dog literally ate my homework.
Your dog ate my book?
Yes.
Did he like it?
He devoured it.
There you go. You can write a review that say, I literally devoured this book. That would be awesome.
Shadow, dog.
I didn't finish it, but my dog devoured it. So that would be a killer ad.
So
shows do help you. Shows do help you gain some readers, John. Hey, E.L. Montague, how are you? Welcome. They do help you gain readers, John. But you almost Mike and I have both been to shows where people have come back to the same show after a year and say, oh, hey, I bought your book last year. Do you have a new one? Right?
Yeah.
But I don't know if they would if we weren't actually there. So it does help a bit. What it does help with, I think, probably more than that, is building an email list, which is a super important kind of thing.
Yeah.
And if you are at all savvy on social media or use it more than I do, which is to say none. Yeah, I know. I don't know why that is. Is it both of us, John, or is it just me?
It's just you on my screen, at least.
Okay, I want to finish my sentence then, and I want to jump off and then come back on. But get your email list set up first and kind of build that up a bit. And I want to jump off this thing and see if I can come back on in a minute.
And John, I will add to that while Roe is leaving us. I've had people who are like, you're going to be back next year, and they'll wait because they want the signed copy of my book. If I didn't come back, some of them were really excited about my book to the point where I was like, why? So, I think they would probably buy if I didn't show up again, but you gotta, the whole thing about it is you have to be in front of people's faces. it's to remind them that you exist. So, and let's get Roe. There we go.
Do I sound like a squirrel?
You sound fine.
Hey, how about that?
And you're still freezing at times, but it's better.
I don't know what to tell you.
So yeah, I would say I like going to Comic Cons because you actually get to talk to the actual readers and get feedback. I did have, for the first time, not so exciting. I had a person, when I pitched my book, goes, "Yeah, you pitched this book to me last year," and then she walked off.
Why wouldn't I pitch it to you again?
I'm like, well, thanks.
Yeah. And you have to get used to, John, a lot of people, Taylor Swift mannequin, a lot of people coming up to you and they'll sit there and talk to you about it, or they'll say, "Oh, you wrote this book yourself? Congratulations." It's like, no, yay. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm over it. Thanks.
And then they'll just, they'll talk, and then they'll kind of like, "Oh, okay, I'll come back." It's like, yeah, no, you won't. That's fine. And it's perfectly fine, right? It's like that's
Right.
part of the thing you kind of get used to, I guess, going to shows. But you do meet a lot of really interesting people at shows, and you see a lot of really interesting things.
Yes. I had a woman ask at the last event at the mall. She asked if reading my book would increase her mysticism.
Or what?
Her mysticism. And then she proceeded to tell me that she used to have a cassette tape that she listened to self-hypnotize herself.
Ooh.
And she got so good that she could read other people's minds. And
Excellent.
then as soon as she said that, the next thing is, "Do you know where my friend went off to?" And I'm like, "Well, you clearly can't read her mind." So she asked if my book would increase her mysticism. I'm like, I'm not even sure how to answer. I'm going to go with no, because I may have to deal with you again if I say yes.
You should have rolled a d20 and told her you rolled a 1. Said, "I'm sorry, it's a critical miss. You're going to get dumber." Those are the things you'd like to say to people sometimes. But yeah, you do meet some really interesting people.
So the mannequin in the corner, this is what happens when you don't have a significant other to ask, "Do you really need to buy a mannequin?" And so therefore you have an idea and you just go with it. And then, so yes, when I have space, which is rare at Comic Cons, I bring good old Grommy with me, and he's a conversation piece. I've brought him like 3 shows now. So between the costume and the mannequin, I probably paid like $250 all told, and I brought him to 3 freaking shows. So money well spent.
It's a conversation piece, and it gives your dog somebody to hang out with when you're not home. So it's all good. Mr. Montague, where are you from?
EL is he works with the Beard of Darkness. He is the
does he?
He is the brains behind the wonderful face.
Okay. All the brand. Nice. I don't know what else we got going on, man. It's the end of the year. Did you have a good Christmas? Did you get anything cool? Did you give yourself nice presents?
I pretty much buy myself presents throughout the year. So at Christmas, I bought a lot of wax and some wax seal stamps. I bought, I don't know if I told you, I bought 7 embalsers. So now for each book, I can emboss it, Protectors of Brittany, Book 1, Becoming a Druid by Mike Mollman. So I bought 7 of those, 1 for each of the 7 books in my series. So I better not change my mind.
No. But you still have them, right?
So yeah, we'll see.
This is what you're missing out on, Mike. So my wife bought a new blender, like a stand mixer,
Ooh,
a new set of iPods, and she handed them to me, and I got to wrap them up and put them under the tree for her.
But she was not unhappy with your presents, was she?
No, she loved them, and they were the right color and everything. It was perfect. I got her, obviously I got her other stuff too, but yeah. So, and I got books for Christmas, which was nice. I got the new Geddy Lee, My Effin' Life, which is pretty good. And wait, come here. Patrick Stewart has a memoir out, which I got, which looks good.
Made It So or something like that,
I have no idea what it's
or
called.
Making It So, something like that.
I've been reading the Getty Lee book, so.
So, I will say the one thing, I went to a couple Comic Cons this year that were not really, the purpose was not to sell books. They're more like authors conventions. And the one RavenCon that I went to that is just very cliquish, and somehow they let me in. Oh, and there goes Roe again. I was on a number of panels, and and he's back.
Yeah, RavenCon, very cliquish.
So I was in. I sold one book. It's more of an authors conference than a Comic Con.
All right. Yeah.
But I was approached by one publisher who said, "Hey, we're going to put out an anthology inspired by Jules Verne. Do you want to do a novella for this book?" Which I did. Around Mars in 80 days. So I just sent it to them yesterday. They said it was due in December.
Oh, okay.
And they didn't say when, so I waited till the end of the month. But the interesting part about it is this novella takes place after book one. This book that is not available in anyone except for me and this one copy.
Right.
So I'm going to try to race and get book one put out before the novella that takes place after book one comes out in this collection.
Nice.
But I don't know. I'm going to ask if they want to publish my book for me, and maybe just they're a small press, and just see if I like having a small press take care of the editing and all that. So I might actually, since it's a sci-fi book and different from my regular writing, I might just see if I like that, and if I do, I'll let them publish the sci-fi, and I'll publish the fantasy myself. But
yeah,
I don't know. We'll see. It's a learning experience.
For all the talk about indie authors and everything, and I know I'm one of them, but I think there comes a point, especially if you have a 9-to-5 job, and this is more of a part-time thing, where it would be difficult to turn down an offer of a traditional publication contract. Even though it pays less, you lose the rights to your stuff, blah, 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 and there's a lot of cons against it. Now, if I had to, pay the rent with this, I would absolutely stay indie, but I don't have Starlink. I'm actually touching right now my little node for our Wi-Fi, so it's not like it's too far away. I mean, I literally have my hand on it. It's here. It's right here. So I don't know what the deal is.
But we shall see. This the small press, they don't give you any sort of advance, but like I said, they will edit it. The only thing that will hold me back is that they do not pay for covers. They just get common, free artwork and put it on.
Yeah.
And it looks terrible.
It looks like free artwork, yeah.
I'm not going to give you a sci-fi or fantasy book and let you put on an ugly cover that looks like that, everyone's like, that was free. So I'll talk to him, but like I already had the guy who does my artwork, good old Dimitri, he's already done one for the Mars book. So I'll be like, no, I've paid for it. I have a commercial license. We're using this, or it's,
and if they're that small of they might not mind that, No.
So they're a little strange. They're like, we might do it, but we have to see it, and it has to be ironclad. And I'm like, well, the guy's in Poland. So, what's he going to do? Is he going to come over and sue us? Because, the plane ticket alone will be less than what he would make if he got all the profits. So, but I mean, I don't know. We'll see. I'd like to go down that route just to see. And this is kind of a painless way. And I don't know that I will write more than like a couple books in this series, sci-fi series anyway. So I figure if there's a time to try it, this would be it.
Yeah, you made me think, saying that thing is in August. I have a sci-fi book that I've actually got maybe a 20% done. Maybe I'll hold off on my cozy mystery and try to knock out that sci-fi this summer and try that out. But
and I found
John, sorry. Yeah, You know, the thing about having a 9 to 5 and writing is often the writing kind of helps you relax and recover from your 9 to 5, because you kind of just to get spread out that mental energy a little bit and do things that you really enjoy doing. So you're not going to do it as fast. You won't do it as much. But at the same time, if you have a 9 to 5, you don't have to really go all in on the marketing and all that other, and learning all those other skills that you really need to do to be successful, because you're not going to not eat because of it. Right. So it's in a way, it's a lot less stressful.
So, and John, do you have a book out yet, John? I will tell you, I went this past year to Crash City Con, which is in Roanoke. Wait, that's right. Yes, Roanoke. You don't live in Roanoke. I keep trying to say that's where Roe lives, and then I realize you don't.
He does not.
But I talked to the people, and I said I want to have where we set up a camera, because they're going to have a room dedicated to authors, and the authors will do a reading, and they'll also have like an hour to sign copies of their books if people want to buy signed copies there. And I was like, well, I want to set my camera up there when they read it. We'll record it and we'll put it on our channel, so we get free content, and the writers get to read their book, and not only to the 1 or 2 people who might be in the room when they're reading it, but also it'll be on our channel so they can have other people, tens of people look at it. So hopefully.
Tens now? Wow.
Well, hopefully. But I will also mention Roe, because I missed it this year because I didn't. Sphinx is what they call it, SFINCS, which is the self-published novella contest. So as long as it's speculative fiction and it's a novella, you can enter it.
Send me a spreadsheet of all these contests. Hey, so, Philip, welcome. Hey, John asked about being on your page. John says I was on your page, and I don't know if he means your page or my page.
I think he means Bald&Balding.
Oh, okay. Do we have a page? Oh, the YouTube page, right?
Yeah.
Cool if you had some reading of your own work. I guess we could maybe do that.
Yeah,
weird.
I mean,
I would feel weird doing that, but okay.
So, like I said, that's what got me thinking about Crash City Con, is that because that, like I said, it'll be free content for us, and it'll be, megaphone for people who do their own readings. Not following 3 to 90-minute reads.
I am doing something different this year, Mike. I signed up for and registered for a writing, like a one-day writers conference at Hollins University, just north of Roanoke.
Yeah.
In this month, not this month, in January. So that'll be kind of interesting. It involves having to, shake hands and speak with people and, be a reasonable human being and engage in small talk and all that. But I figure, what the heck, maybe it will. I've never been to a writers conference before, so maybe it'll be fun.
I went to several when I was very new, and I scurried from one room to the next so I could see all the panels on all the different topics, which now that I've done that, I'm like, the panels, they ask the same 4 questions and then time is up. So I really think it's good if you're new to get the training, but otherwise after that, it's more, who can you talk to? Who can you meet? And try to make connections.
Even in the service, we had editors conferences, right? The base newspaper editors conferences, like once a year or something, where we get together and get thrown out of bars and stuff. And everybody knew the most useful part of those conferences took place at the bar after the stuff, after the formal kind of nonsense went on. It is. It's just making those connections and doing that, networking, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to that. We should try to reach out to some of these Comic-Cons, though, and see if they will let us set up a little thing as Bald&Balding and just do some live interviews from the con. That might be kind of fun.
I thought about that, but the problem would be, are you going to leave your table to do Bald&Balding?
No, I think we'd have to see if we can get like a space that's big enough where we could each have a little table with some of our books there at the same time. But we can like a double booth,
and then we each take the ends and then the centers for or something like that.
Whatever. Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah, I think that is my goal for 2024. Well, one, I sold 757 books. I'm hoping to sell 1,000 next year. I don't know how I'm going to get to that when I do less Comic Cons, but hope springs eternal. But yeah, and I think getting to know people will be huge for that. And I'm actually, get this, for the first time ever, I'm doing a book launch. It's launching January 22nd, and I'm going to be, well, I talked to Matt from Beard of Darkness. EL will have to, nudge him a little, but he told me he'd like to have me on his channel the day of or right before it launches and actually tell people about it and have it launched, have it ready and out there before, I launch it and actually try to build buzz. Yeah, I know. Build buzz before you launch it. Who knew?
It only took 5 years to figure that out.
Yeah, I'm not launching on a holiday with no notice. So, I've improved.
Oh yeah, to my 12 Facebook friends. I have a book coming out tomorrow. Yeah.
No, I didn't even post on Facebook. I literally called my brother and that was it. And he did not buy it.
These are the same brothers who came to the comic book show that you were at and made you pay to get them in. You use your extra things. They didn't even pay to get in.
Right.
Those guys. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something we can easily do.
John, would you really watch that? You would watch somebody sitting there reading a page or two of a chapter of their book? That's a thought, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that's
something we could easily record and put on there. Maybe we'll do that for 2024. Maybe we'll give that a go.
That might be what I do on New Year's.
I'll feel like the old guy on, Princess Bride reading to his grandson, though.
I did it twice. I did it once live, and there was one person in the room listening to me. And I'm like, do you want me to continue?
That's painful. Yeah.
And then I did it once online at someone's channel, and we had no live viewers, and I think it got like 12 looks because she was doing everyone in Spiffbo. So she had 2 or 3 to put up a day. So I don't even know if that moved the needle, but
I've done a couple of those live events at local libraries and things like that. And those are kind of fun, but I've never done a reading just because of what you said. Man, if only 5 people show up, I just feel like such a goon. And I've never liked it when people in school, when you're going through high school and stuff, when teachers will read to you. I've always hated that. And that's why I'm so picky about having to, the voice of a audiobook.
Yep.
In the first 5 minutes, I know whether or not I'm going to listen to it all, just based on the voice. Yeah. It's a very particular voice I can listen to, and I don't think mine is that voice. So
I heard when I went to the Hanover Book Festival, which again I sold 3 books, and 2 of them were to a coworker who happened to show up. So yeah, it was abysmal. But anyway, the nicest part is the woman came up, she gave me her card, and she's like, "I have a bookstore in Tappahannock. And I normally advertise a great deal if I can get authors to come in for signings and or readings." But so again, going to Comic-Cons, the benefits of is not, I sold 3 books there, but I get this woman who said, yes, contact me. She doesn't do it in the winter because ice. She's like, but ice. Yeah, she's like, you never know, Virginia weather, it might be icy or whatever. And I don't know if it's the same in your part of the state, but here, if there is snow in the grass but nothing on the street, schools are closed.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, and then everyone's like, they don't want us to come into work, do they? The roads are wet.
Roanoke, which is 45 miles up the road from us, is 1,000 feet lower than Blacksburg, right? But we still, if the weather calls for snow, not is it snowing, but if the weather calls for snow, they will cancel schools here. Now, as someone who was, born and raised in Vermont, the only thing that would close a school is a severe ice storm, and not the threat of an ice storm, but, an actual inch of ice on the roads. But here, I think it's because some of the kids are even further into the hills, and the roads are just atrocious. And I wouldn't trust anybody on the roads around here because people down here don't know how to drive in snow.
That is a true story. I always tell people, it's like, I'm fine. I know not to drive super fast and not to make, quick turns. I'm like, but no one else on the road knows that. And so that's my biggest fear. So, but yeah.
Hey, we've successfully killed almost an hour, man.
I know. Who knew? And we didn't even have to talk about cornhole.
Thank God.
So I do need to get with you, Ro, and try to figure out what we want to do for the last Saturday or last Thursday in January with new authors, and I got to nail down the new authors. Or are you're the one that let's not have structure?
Well, we should have guests, though. I think that's a really useful thing. So I don't mind doing this like once a year, but like maybe next year we'll have more structure to this.
So but, I will reach out to Catherine. I'll reach out to these two wannabe authors. And John, if you have questions, if anybody has questions, like I said, I can tell you what not to do.
So we are valiantly struggling our way to get to 100 subscribers on this channel.
We have 4 viewers, by the way.
When we do, I have this all ready to go, and we will pick one person randomly from that 100-person list, and I will give away a set of 8 of these.
And I'll give away my 4 books, assuming that,
so
we don't hit 100 until after January 22nd, which I think is.
If you guys know people who need to sign up for something just because, why not? You got a 1 in 100 chance. Pickleball, never heard of her. I've heard of it, but I've never played it. I have really bad knees. And in fact, it's almost injection time in my knees again. So. Oof.
So, and I will match you, Ro. I will give out all 4 of my books, and I'll do them, the hardbacks.
With the hardbacks, aren't you special?
With the wax seal and the embossed page and everything, the whole 9 yards.
You got to be a fucking one-upper, don't you?
I only have 4 books. You have 8.
I'm not giving away hardbacks. I guess I could. Anyway, maybe for $250 I'll do hardbacks.
There you go. So
I'm still back on this pickleball thing, man. I think he's picking on us.
No.
Who lives in Roanoke? Nobody lives in Roanoke, John.
No, I just keep thinking Ro lives in Roanoke. He does not. He lives in Blacksburg. His address is. Oh, wait.
What's that?
It's like, and Ro's address is. Stop by anytime.
No, I work up near Roanoke. I work in Salem, actually. But yeah, I live down here, up here, wherever it is, over here, down here.
So, yep. And everybody, next week is JCM Byrne, which if you haven't talked to him, he's a lot. And he's been in a fair number of Twitter back and forths. So he likes to stir the pot. Then John A. Douglas is the next week, and he also likes to stir the pot. So we should have a couple interesting talks coming up. And then
are fun.
Yeah. So keep looking out for us. Thanks everybody for showing up. We're at a record of 4 people for the day.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting.
Signing off. So I almost want to extend it, but I have nothing else to talk about. Okay. So everybody, thanks for showing up. Enjoyed it. See you next week.
Thanks all. Hopefully we won't be as sketchy and stoppy. The video